Landon, how are you doing?
Doing alright. Just got back from practice. Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, Caleb, so like they blocked off like two or three of them, and so like, I mean, it was hard with traffic.
Yeah.
But
I got to you.
all right, are you all ready to get started?
Yes, sir. Yep. Yep.
Oh.
Ready.
All right, Caleb. So the first question that we usually ask everybody is, how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah. So currently, I'm at Asbury University in Kentucky. Turner knows that. We're teammates now. But I grew up in Jackson, Ohio, and played high school ball there. Had a really good high school career there. And then I went to the University of Rio Grande, um, where I started off my first 2 years of my career playing there and doing my education there. My coach that I actually got recruited by got fired like 4 months before I decided to go or was supposed to move in. So that was kind of inconvenient, but I was able to stay there for 2 years, had a really good 2 years there. And then just decided I needed a change, and now I'm here.
So growing up, this doesn't have to be basketball, but what were some athletes that you looked up to?
Yeah, I mean, it was always Steph Curry for me. I ain't gonna lie. I know that makes me sound like a bandwagon on the Curry train, but that's the truth. I love Steph Curry. I loved how he incorporated his faith into it. Um, and I'm also a Packers fan, so I love Aaron Rodgers. But talking about basketball, I would go with Steph Curry. I always liked LeBron too, but Steph Curry kind of just like relayed my game a little bit more than LeBron, obviously. And I also really like Steve Nash. Like I feel like our games are pretty similar, so I liked watching like old film with Steve Nash growing up.
Do you have a favorite moment like growing up playing basketball?
Yeah, I would say that my favorite moment growing up playing would be in high school. My team and I had the opportunity to, break the winning record in a season. So that was really exciting. And then that same year, we actually had the opportunity to go play at Ohio University's arena in the district final game. And that was a big deal for us because that was like the first time in 16 years, I believe, that we had played in a district title game. So it was a really cool experience to have like the whole town, the whole city rooting for you, getting to play in that environment. It was super cool. Definitely my favorite moment.
So when did you start with your other plans with all the social media stuff with like YouTube in general? When did you start doing YouTube?
Yeah, so I mean, freshman year of high school is when I really like started working on it. In middle school, I would say that that passion started to be developed. I loved watching like gaming YouTubers at the time. I was really into NBA 2K, so I would watch YouTubers that made videos about that, and I just really knew that I wanted to do something like that. So I was able to start getting involved in it freshman year of high school, and I actually started making some very not well produced videos freshman year of high school. Um, and then throughout that journey, I just kept working extremely hard at it. It's what I obsessed over. I was doing it every day. And I actually got some really cool opportunities to pursue some of that towards the senior year of high school with some other YouTubers that are pretty well known. So yeah, that was a super cool experience for me.
Landon, I'll go over to you.
All right, I'm gonna read off some numbers real quick. 14.5K TikTok followers, 1.18 thousand YouTube subscribers, and 30,000 Instagram followers. So, how did you begin your career in social media?
Yeah, those are just the start. Like I'm hoping those continue to grow. It's been a long journey to get to those, but to answer your question, how I got started was just that, getting started. Like I said, I was interested in seeing other people do it. I liked the idea of being able to create a lifestyle that was free, working on your own schedule and stuff. And I knew that social media was a route you could take to do that. So I really just fell in love with it. Started working really hard at it, like I said. The YouTuber by the name of Destroying um, reached out as just needing an editor, and he was, talking to everybody via social media. So I sent a DM, got lucky, got favored, and I got a cool opportunity with him. And through some trial and errors with other creators, I was able to land that job with him and work with him consistently for about 2.5 years, where I learned so much about what it took to be a creator. I got to see what he did on a daily basis. I got to go out to Arizona, actually live with him for 3 months and see what his day in the life looked like and what that lifestyle looked like. And I knew that that's just what I want to do. Seeing the way he lived and the way he got to live freely, that's something I still admire to be able to do. So I'm still chasing that dream every day. So.
Cool. So I'll kind of go off of that dream. So where do you see yourself in 5 years from now with your social media following it? Do you see a future out of it?
Yeah, it's really hard to tell. I definitely see a future in it, in some capacity. It's just hard to tell where I'll be in 5 years. I only got 2 or 3 more years of basketball left to play, as far as at the college level goes. And most of my content is about basketball. So I think there's definitely going to be like an identity shift as far as like what type of content I'm going to create. I know that I definitely want to keep pursuing that dream of social media influencer status. So I'm definitely going to keep pursuing that. But it is going to look a little different probably in 5 years than what it looks like now. So that's a great question because I'm kind of curious to see what that looks like as well.
I got you. So you mentioned earlier that you play at Asbury now. So how do you balance between college basketball and your social media life?
Yeah, I've always been a planner. I struggle when I don't have a set schedule and a plan in front of me. So it actually works out well for me to where I have some pretty decent time management skills. I am like a Google Calendar freak. Every Sunday I sit down, look at my schedule. I put my basketball times in there as well as times I need to get in on my own in there. And then from there, I put in time for homework and all that stuff, library time, class time. And then anytime I have free, I try to just work in social media stuff. And that's how I do it. It's a pretty balanced lifestyle, to be honest. Like I said, it's just being a Google Calendar freak and color coordinating things and being able to see your week out in front of you. And then just being able to pick times that you can focus on the social media stuff.
I got you. Tony, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so, Caleb, going through your YouTube editing, how did you network your name? How did you work on that process?
Yeah, man. So many people ask me this, man, and they're expecting some, like, crazy answer. But the truth is that it started because I got a lucky DM. It actually started way back, and this was when I was a really bad editor, but it got my name in the door. Is MMG did the same thing Destroying did and posted, like, hey, I need an editor, DM me if you're interested. I sent him a DM, haven't been editing for maybe a year, if that, just for myself, and he gave me a chance, and I got to edit like 4 videos for him before I got fired for being, not good, but I got that chance, and then from there, I just was able to use his name as someone I got to work with, and, nobody needed to know that I only edited 4 videos for him, they just needed to know I worked with him, so, because I did, so from there, I just started using his name as a way to network. I started sending like 30 emails and DMs a day to people that I thought I could work for, and even people I didn't really think I had a chance with. And then eventually I just, like I said, kind of had that streak of luck where I got that job with Destroying through the MMG connection and being able to say that I edited for him. The biggest piece of advice I would give to people for networking is be prepared when the moment comes. Be prepared when that moment comes, because at the end of the day, it is a lot of luck. I give credit to God for that blessing. But at the end of the day, I don't think you can really ever expect for an opportunity like that to come. I just think when it does, you need to be able to be prepared to execute when it happens.
So, I'll go to more of an interesting question for this one. Who are some of the other like well-known YouTubers that you've edited for?
Yeah, okay. So I've edited for MMG for that short period of time. I've edited for Destroying, which was my most long-standing person I worked with consistently. I've worked with Pretty Boy Fredo. I've worked with The Real Tarzan. I've worked for a lot of other smaller YouTubers. Forget what the other one's called. It's like TGH, or it's a prank channel. And then there's just a lot of up-and-coming people. I almost had an opportunity to work with Jesser. I competed in his editing interview, came in second, so I got offered a job with his friend Mopey at the time, but that ended up going through. So yeah, those are just a few quick names off the top of my head, but I know there's more. I would just have to look through it again and see who all I've actually connected with.
So now that I know you're still editing for some people, but now with you being more independent. I kind of know about one, but what are some future projects you're working on?
Yeah, some future projects. I gotta be careful because there's a lot in the mind that I'm not ready to tell people yet because it's just not developed.
Yeah.
But I'm working on a podcast, so this is good practice for me. That'll be coming out hopefully shortly. I am getting engaged. That's not really a project. Or getting married. Sorry, I'm already engaged. But that's not really a project, but that's something exciting happening in my life here soon. I'm working on a clothing line at the moment. I am kind of working on a startup that but it's going to be super cool. It's going to be dealing with NIL and athletes. And then just some freelance work per usual, so like wedding videos, stuff like that. But as far as big projects, the ones I mentioned earlier are probably the big ones I'm focusing on right now.
All right, Landon, back to you.
All right, so simple question: was playing college basketball always a dream growing up?
Yeah, ever since I was able to decide for myself of like what was my favorite sport, that was 5th grade. Yeah, it's always been my dream. I played all the sports growing up, but when 5th grade hit, I had an opportunity to go to a camp, actually ran by the coach that recruited me into Rio at the time. And that's where I fell in love with the game. And from there on, I knew I wanted to play in college. It's something I always wanted to do. People, would always tell me I couldn't do it because of my physical attributes. So that kind of just made me want to do it even more because that's my personality. But yeah, I would say it's always been a dream for as far as I can remember.
I got a 2-part question for you here. So first, what are your goals this year for the upcoming basketball year and the coming year with your influence? And second, how do you plan to accomplish those goals?
Yeah. So your first question was, what's my goals for this year, and what was the part you said after that?
And how do you plan to accomplish those?
Okay. Yeah. So some quick goals I have for myself. I'll go to myself, and then some team goals I have too. But some goals I have for myself is honestly just to find that love for the game again. And I'm already starting to see that here, which is awesome. But like I mentioned, my first 2 years, I just needed a change. It wasn't for me. I woke up, daily wondering if I would even play the following year before I landed here. So that's a big one for me. Is I just want to enjoy my time and find that love again for it. And like I said, I've already started to feel that. Another goal I have is just to do my job. I've always been a guy that's just wanted to do my job. Whatever coach needs me to do, whatever the team needs me to do, I want to be able to be the best person at doing that specific job. So that's my goal for this year, is to just accept whatever role they need me to play this year. I already have an idea of kind of what that looks like, but I'm excited to see how that, evolves and how that, actually looks this year. And then for the team, I really like the squad we have. I want to win, an NCAA national championship. I really think we can do it. I think that would be a blast, and I think that would be a great first year experience here at Asbury for me. And then to answer the follow-up, I guess, of how to get there, is just to take it one day at a time. And that's kind of the answer for everything. I'm like I said earlier in the episode about something different, I am a planner. So sometimes I look so far ahead that I miss out on the now. And this year I'm 100% trying to focus on day-to-day. What's important now. That's what I'm trying to focus on. So.
I know you mentioned a little bit earlier you didn't want to get too specific into it, but have you had any success getting NIL deals with your social media presence, even with being at an NAIA school?
Yeah, so I have had a lot of interest for specific deals. I've had some massage gun stuff. I've had a massage gun company reach out, and then I've had a lot of just random companies reach out. But to be honest, I don't want to pursue a brand deal unless it makes sense for the message I'm trying to bring. So I haven't converted on one of those yet. So yeah, to answer your question, no, I haven't converted on NIL, but I've been approached for many NIL opportunities. I just haven't found the one I want to do. I'm kind of more focused on promoting my stuff. That's why I'm working on the clothing line. That's why I'm working on the podcast. I would rather promote my stuff that can provide value to people other than just promote something I don't actually believe in for a quick check, if that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect. I'll turn it back to you.
All right, Caleb. So back to more basketball things. So with the background, me and Landon were guys that transferred out of our original high school after. Landon, was it 2 or 3 years for you?
It was 2 years.
It was 2 years, and it was 2 years for me too. And it was 2 years for you at Rio. So what was different from year 1 and 2 to make you complete the thought that yeah, I need to go somewhere else?
Yeah, so Turner, I had 2 great years. People look at why I transferred and they're like, dude, why? And the truth is that my scenario was good. I was 20 minutes away from home. I started since I was a freshman, which was really rare in college in general, but especially with a new coach that didn't recruit you, that was really rare. Started 2 years, and I was on a full ride scholarship. I had no student debt to worry about. So when people, see my situation, they're like, dude, that doesn't make sense. But after year 1, I really started to feel myself just not loving my everyday life as a basketball player in college. And I knew that was an issue because I've never felt that way about the game of basketball. Basketball was always the thing that I went to get me out of hard times. But that first year, I noticed it was the thing that brought me into more hard times than it got me out of. So that was the first red flag for me. The second year, I was like, okay, I had a good year. I averaged great numbers as a freshman point guard. I'm just going to stick it out. Like I said, my scenario is good, so I'm just going to stick it out my second year. And my second year, it just got much worse. And then I started to just feel really bad about myself. And I'm not going to go into crazy detail about what happened in my situation. But what I can say is that I just wanted something different and someone different pouring into my life on a daily basis. So that's why I decided to leave.
Who are some of your favorite current players to watch in any level of basketball?
Oh man, it's hard. To be honest, I like watching college more than NBA at the moment. But I'm trying to think. I don't know. It's hard for me. Some of this, the new play style is hard for me to find guys that I mimic my play after. I liked Kyrie back in the old days, but I'm starting to go away from him a little bit. Yeah, man, I'm kind of stumped on that question because I really liked watching the Villanova point guard last year, Gillespie, I think.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was Gillespie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably my favorite player to watch within the last year, just because he was a great point guard. But NBA-wise, man, that's a hard question for me, to be honest.
What's your stance on the Michael Jordan and LeBron James debate?
Yeah, it's so hard because it's so hard when people ask me this question too, because it's they're 2 different, time periods of basketball. So it's kind of hard to compare. But, I think when LeBron takes the scoring record, if he does that, I don't think we can talk much. I think Shaq said the same thing, so I'm just going to agree with him on that. By the time he beats, the scoring record, and I think he'll have another championship or 2, and then I don't think we'll have that anymore.
Yeah. So with you playing different levels of basketball, do you want to see any changes in the future to any levels of basketball? Excuse me.
I really want to see a shot clock, and mandated for all high school levels, or for all states in a high school level. I was aggravated so many times because of a lack of a shot clock in high school. I just like a fast-paced game. So I would say that that's really the only thing I can think about at the top of my head. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I know that you're a guard, but with everybody starting to shoot more, even bigs, do you see the use of the traditional big man dissolving?
I see that a little bit for me. I still love a traditional big man. But if I had a kid right now, and this, isn't going to happen based on my fiance's height and my height, But say I have a kid that's, just a giant, I would be training guard skills very heavily with him, because I feel like that's the way the game's going. I feel like even if you're big, you got to be able to handle the ball, got to be able to shoot it well. So I would say, yeah, to answer your question, I do see it dissolving a little bit. But personally, I still love a traditional big man. I still love watching them. I still love playing with them. So, yeah.
Landon, I'll go back to you.
All right, I just got one final question. So what are some tips or pieces of motivation you give to those that don't think they're good enough, or they're not tall enough or athletic enough?
Yeah, I would just say, first of all, try to tune it out. I know it's really hard when you have so many people talking about why you can't do something, but try to tune it out. And then I would just try to shift your perspective. That's something I'm really, big on, is shifting your perspective and learning that the process to your goal is where you honestly get most of your tools to build the life you want. So embrace the process, embrace the hard times and the in-between seasons, because it's often in those times where you can learn the most and be equipped the most to grow. So yeah, that's what I would say. Shift your perspective on it and try to outwork everyone.
And I'll let you finish it off.
All right. So, Caleb, throughout the years, who were some of the best players that you played against?
Wow, this is tough. I played against Michi Johnson. I actually guarded him pretty well, so I don't know if I would say he's the best player or the hardest player I've had to play. He played at Ohio State. I forget where he just transferred out. I don't know where he's at now. I played against Caleb Wesson one time. I played against Tyler Eulis' brother, who was a really tough guard. He was really good. I played against, there's a guy that plays at Michigan now, Zeb Jackson, I think's his name. He's really good too. Those are just a few off the top of my head.
So, what's your opinion on, because, of course, you got recruited to play college basketball. Do you see travel basketball being very important in today's society, or do you think that people should value school ball more?
I would say the way the game's heading, I would say try to get involved in a good program, a good AAU program. But also, there's something good to be said about, staying in your hometown in high school. So I would advocate to stay true to your high school. I transferred, not high schools, but I transferred school districts when I was in 5th grade. But, I still feel like that's enough time. But there's still a lot of value in playing for your hometown. But I would say, yes, it's important to get involved in a really good AAU program. And by really good, I don't mean these Nike EYBLs. Those get the most exposure right now. But find a program that will teach you to play the right way. That's what I did. When I found that program, Mid-Ohio Pumas, it was great for me. That's where I learned the most. That's where I developed the most. And that's honestly where I had the most fun at times. So, yeah, I would say definitely try to get involved in a good summer program. But also take pride in playing for, your hometown and bringing championships to them.
So that's a perfect segue for the next question. So I know that you played in Ohio. So with Kentucky, what the rules are starting to be is with high school sports, you can enroll in another school without being a resident of that area, in the district. Is anything like that a thing in Ohio?
No, Ohio's pretty strict. It's you got to be a resident to play for the school district without having to sit out a year or semester or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's big time for Kentucky, but Ohio has not made that change. I don't believe.
What's your opinion on that?
What's my opinion on it?
Yeah, about Kentucky with it.
Yeah, I would say that's a good thing for the kids to have the option to do what they want. I feel like it's nice the kids have the option, but like I said in the last question, I really enjoyed playing for my hometown. I wouldn't have wanted to play anywhere else. There's just something about a community that you grow up in and getting to play in front of those people for something and for those people. I think it's just a great feeling, and I feel bad for the people that and the kids that just move around year to year. But at the same time, I also understand that sometimes you got to do what's best for you. So I don't really have a agree or disagree opinion on it, but I can see both sides to both.
I have a two-part question for you. So, part one is who are some of your favorite Division I college teams to watch?
Okay. I would say I liked Villanova, like I said, when Gillespie was there. I just liked their offense. I liked the way he ran it. I also like Kentucky. I know you guys are going to like that one. I grew up a Kentucky fan, so I like watching them. But as far as good basketball goes, I like watching Villanova. I feel like they play really good basketball.
And the second part to that question is, if you were able to pick any school in the country, who would you play for?
Man, I mean, I would have to say, where I'm at now, to be honest. Like, I know that's kind of like a thing, like, oh, you're just saying that. But, like, genuinely, I really like my situation. I can't wait for my soon-to-be wife to be up here with me and enjoy this place with me. I really like it here. And like I said, I'm just trying to enjoy now. And what's important now. And what's important now is that I'm here and I'm, enjoying a new life here. And it's super good. Your dad, Coach Schaus, he's a great guy, great coach. Can't wait to play for him. And just the whole staff here, the whole in my life. So I'm glad to be here.
Mm-hmm. One question that I forgot to ask before about your editing is, when was the first time that you got like a pretty nice check and like it was kind of like, I mean, like a light bulb in your head, like, wow, I can actually make good money off this?
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a moment like that. I would say when I got the job with MMG. Like I said, he was my first one, and I think at the time I was like 14, and I got that job with him, and he paid me $100 for an edit at the time. And like I said, I wasn't very good, so I didn't like put too much time into it as I do now. But I would be making $100 for like 3 hours of my time, and at that point in my life, I was like, wow, like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to work for myself on my own schedule and make this kind of money. And then, as I got older, those checks just got bigger and bigger. And then I was like, yeah, you could definitely do this full time if you wanted to. So, yeah, there was definitely a moment, I would say it was with MMG, where it was like, oh, wow. And then when Destroying, I worked with him and started editing like 3 videos a week and making like a lot of money. 4 figures in a week and a half type thing. I was like, yeah, this is what I could do.
Were your parents always supportive of it?
To be honest, yeah, they were. They were. Like, it's not one of those things where they weren't at first and then they were when they started seeing I was making the money. The year I wanted to start, they bought me the Christmas gear. They bought me the things I needed to get started, and they just supported me. They would watch them, even though they were like the only 3 watching them. And then when people made fun of me, because, I did go through some of that, they were there to encourage me to keep doing it. So, yeah, they've always been supportive of it. And especially they kind of had a light bulb moment, too, when I started working with some of the bigger names and getting those checks, too. So, yeah, that helped a little bit.
You mentioned NIL earlier. So, when me and Landon had a couple episodes back, we talked with the former Kentucky quarterback, and we were observing how like there was a Miami quarterback that got like $9.5 million to go to Miami. Do you think that NIL should have a cap, or do you think it should just be like free reign, free money?
I think it should be free reign. I really do, because like people don't realize how much work it is to actually gain that influence and gain that platform. And the fact of the matter is, those kids or their agents or their parents, whoever is running those accounts, is putting in work, and they're running a business. A personal brand is a business. They deserve to be compensated for their business, because alongside the work they're putting towards their business and their brand, they're also putting in twice as much of that, just being in shape to put themselves in a position to where they can have that brand. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I feel like there shouldn't be a cap. I feel like if a kid can make $10 million, $15 million off the work they've put in the last 12 years, both on the field and off the field, I think they should be, able to get that.
So with high school athletes having more of an opportunity with basketball to either go play professionally overseas or even the G League Ignite or going to college, what if you had a son who had that opportunity, what would you advise him to do?
I would first advise him that, it's his decision, whatever he wants to do. But my advice for that decision would be, just providing pros and cons to both scenario. It depends what level. Would my son be like NBA level, or are we talking like overseas level? What are we talking?
NBA level.
Yeah, I mean, that's really tough because that's a lot of money. I would be lying if I said I wouldn't consider that myself. But at the end of the day, there is value in, your education. I truly do believe that. But I also know that we're living in a time of age to where, and I'm proof of this, that you don't need necessarily an education to make money. So I think just to letting him know the pros and cons to both, I would advise him to understand the cons and the risks that would, be there if he decided to go play at the NBA, because he could get injured, then not have a degree to fall back on. So that's a hard one for me. I would let him make his own decision, but I would let him know the value of an education, but I'd also let him know that there's other avenues to make money, and just let him make a big boy decision and make a decision that fits him and his family the most.
All right, with this last segment, the floor is yours. Whatever's on your mind, or if you want to ask us anything, go ahead.
Man, yeah. Well, I don't really think I have anything to ask or add to the conversation. I just appreciate y'all having me on. Appreciate anybody that's listened this far, because I know I talk a lot. And then if you want to check out some of my stuff, you can follow me at the Caleb Truth Wallis on Instagram. C-Dub on YouTube is my YouTube channel, and then Caleb Truth Wallis on TikTok. So if you want to check out some of the stuff I'm doing, you can go there. And thanks for having me, guys.
All right, Landon, do you have any closing thoughts?
Just thank you for taking your time to be with us today.
Yeah, we appreciate it. All right, Caleb, we'll let you go.
All right, appreciate you guys.
All right, appreciate it.